Ooh, we've got some spooky stuff to see in this one. I don't know why. I feel like that's not the best, like, opening graphic for it, since SpongeBob is, kind of has... I won't say he has the upper hand. What am I saying? Never mind. Watch this, cousin.
It came from Bikini Bottom.
I feel like the sound got fucked up there or something. Anyway, yeah, this is, I suppose you could call this the climax of the game, in a way. It doesn't always feel like it, because there's, like, a ton of shit after this. It doesn't go on for very long, but there are, like, 4 more sections of the game, like, distinct sections of the game left after this, and they go by... They're much, much shorter than all the other ones. But yeah, this is kind of what the game has been building up to. As I said, it's featured prominently on the game box, and in all of the TV spots for the game was the section where you fly around as SpongeBob in a plane, and you fight a big giant Plankton. And this is what it is. It's kind of an on-rails thing. It decides the direction for you, and you can shoot. It's essentially the exact same thing as the Rocket Rodeo section. I think it's a little bit better, though. The only thing is that once again, it's kind of difficult to tell where everything is going to be on the screen as far as the game is concerned, because especially whenever it turns you around, it doesn't always move exactly the way that you would think. And there are also plenty of times, again, just like in Rocket Rodeo, where it'll tell you to go a certain way, and then that way will fuck you over. Or there's something that you need in a different direction. I don't know.
You're surprisingly good at this, or surprisingly lucky. Either one works. Do you want me to fly this thing?
And yeah, old man Jenkins will shit on you the whole time. It's great fun. I don't know, to me, like, this section in itself isn't awful. It's just come at a time in the game where I just feel like it's completely lost steam. And I don't really know how to explain that any differently. Also, I missed a sleepy seed there, which kind of is annoying. Especially these mid bits here after you save. You know, every level has its title card and some, hilarious announcer bit here, and we have it once again. With this section of the game, I think these are some of the weakest ones. Like, they're not that funny, and there's like 6 of them for some reason. And I don't know, I'm just over that gimmick by now, by this point in the game. Shoot it! Yeah, I keep knocking into shit all the time, but whatever. That part's pretty cool, that little swerve. Oh yeah.
Sponge fool! Why don't you just give up? No one left to help you. No one left at all.
Does that line sound familiar to you? Because if you watched my Let's Play of the SpongeBob movie game, then it should, because Plankton says that exact line verbatim several times throughout that game. Mostly in the desert levels with the propaganda towers. Obviously they re-recorded it for this game. He says it a little bit differently. The inflection is a little different, and in general it just sounds like very flat to me. And yeah, that's maybe one of the weirdest things about this game, now that I think about it, is that there are so many things that are like ghosts of the other SpongeBob games, like things recycled from the older SpongeBob games, but then all of the like gameplay and in a lot of ways design, except I guess from SpongeBob, I think there may be a few like differences, and there's certainly a difference in animation, but it looks almost like the exact same model, but then again, maybe SpongeBob just looks the same in 3D in general. But not really, because like he looks distinctly different in like the Nicktoons games and other games. It's not just like graphical capacity or whatever, like it's a choice to make him look the way he does. But it looks like all the other major console game versions of SpongeBob. But whatever. It's interesting when they repeat lines. I don't know why they do. Did they just really like that line, or what? I'm not really sure. I am fairly certain that it wasn't just like a recording of it that they had lying around. It sounds like they did it for this game, so I just don't know what the idea behind that was. I really wish that like behind the scenes sorts of stuff that you see in like DVDs and Blu-rays for movies, I wish that they were more common for video games. I know that some video games apparently have developer commentaries. I'm not exactly sure how those work. Like, is there a commentary while you play the game? And if so, what happens if you keep fucking up? Do you hear the same section of the commentary over and over again? Does it stop? Is it just like a long play of the game, but with commentary from the developers? Because even that, I wouldn't be mad about if that was bonus content. Maybe not on the game itself, but just somewhere, like on the internet, but preferably with the game. Then, I don't know, I would think I would think that's fucking cool.
Finished, SpongeBob.
Yeah, and all of these levels are just, like, they feel very random and arbitrary when they start and stop, and they're all just punctuated by these very awkward moments of Plankton just silently lumbering around and roaring. And they get, like, progressively shittier. This game has one of those things where, as the game goes on in the cutscenes, you can tell that they, like, had to, like, they were running out of time and money, essentially, to make these things, so just, like, already this game is pretty ugly, and, like, the animation and cutscenes and everything isn't awesome, and then toward the end it just gets really half-assed looking, which is kind of a thing in all of them. Like, even the movie game has that, where, like, after a while, they just make the cutscenes, like, 2 seconds, and as general as possible. They don't go to nearly the lengths that they do in the first few levels of the game's cutscenes to, like, make a bunch of jokes or do cool shit or whatever. I don't even really know what I mean by that, but I hope that people understand what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it makes sense to me, because I definitely know the feeling of, like, starting a project and then by the end, you know, it's very noticeable that you were, like, putting a lot more effort and time into it in the beginning and then hastily putting it together at the end. Also, the noise that Plankton makes when he punches buildings in this section and, like, knocks them over, it sounds exactly like the critical hit sound from the Pokemon games. I don't know if he's gonna do it again, but if he does, listen carefully, because that's what I think it sounds like.
I'm writing to my congressman.
I don't know why that was a good one. Yeah, like that part. That's what I was talking about earlier. It said hang left and went right into the fucking I-beam. Like, what the hell? And there was nothing really on the right side of the screen, like, in my way or threatening me. But that was a funny line. I'm gonna write my congressman. I like the idea of seeing a monster rampaging through the city and being like, oh, my congressman. I have a few choice words for him. Let's see what Steny Hoyer has to say about that. Okay. Do you see what I mean? Just like, you know, there probably was a thought process behind that, but it was just entirely, like, thrown together. Especially the people, like, all the little random people running around. They have, like, 5 different models, and they're made of, like, 6 polygons. It's weird. But I mean, it's not exactly special with this game. Like I've said before, it's not like Battle for Bikini Bottom or the movie game are like especially beautiful looking games or anything. But I don't know. And I have no idea why, like, there's, like, why there's still a tutorial explaining to me that I need to pick up the fuel balloons and that the big flashing things are things that you need to shoot. Like, you really shouldn't even need to tell me anyway that the flashing things are things you need to shoot, because that's just, like, normal video game stuff. Like, I feel like if you've played 2 video games in your life, you would know that big flashing thing means you do something with it. I don't know. I really am not trying to just make this all about bitching. I'm just sharing my thoughts on the game as they come to me, and it's kind of a, you know, mediocre game in a lot of ways. I still have fun playing this part for the most part, just because it's new to me. Like, I'm really mad that I couldn't beat that level in the last part when I was a kid, because I probably would have thought this part was really cool. I probably would have thought it was very difficult as well. I mean, I certainly am not great at it. I've, you know, been fucking up and everything. Plankton's eyebrow gets really big there. I don't really know what just happened. And then SpongeBob does his cute little dance in the plane. I don't know, I like it.
Just maybe SpongeBob can lead the beast out of the city. Will he be able to escape the rampaging Plankton? Probably not. It didn't work last time.
Look at the pretty light.
Those same 3 residents of Bikini Bottom all just hanging out. Oh my god, I love that. The fucking holding the sign with the no plankton. That's awesome. Just a shitty sign with like 8 pixels on it. And yeah, they're all like fucking up whenever they wave their fins. You can see polygons sticking out of their heads. It's all good fun. I was just thinking about the fact that, like, this game always gets me thinking about 2006 vibes, because, I mean, that's when it came out. And I don't know if everything that I refer to when I talk about this actually did happen in 2006. I know many of them did. And I've talked about it before, both with this and with Open Season, which also came out in 06. That year is really like vivid in my mind for some reason. Like, there's a lot of things just from that time period. Like I've said before, like 03 to 08 is like the most general time period, where I mean, what was I doing in that time period? That was when I was like really into Legos, I was really into video games, and I was really into just animated movies. And that was like my whole bread and butter and what I did with almost all of my time. I loved going on IMDb and reading the trivia pages, and reading all of the memorable quotes pages for movies that I wasn't allowed to watch, so I could read all the cuss words. And all the parts where they talk about, like, you know, the parental guides, because it would talk about like how there's tits or whatever, and I would be like, holy shit, I wonder, I can only imagine what that's like, seeing a movie with boobs. You know, just regular little boy stuff. I also found out, I've been reading a book recently, and I found out in that book that 2006 was the year that DVD sales peaked, and they've gone down ever since. What the fuck? Was that supposed to happen? I didn't even realize that when I was playing it. That man's eyeballs stood stationary while his eyeless body just arose from the toilet while he pooted. That was weird. Like, I don't know if that was like a graphical glitch, like something getting messed up, or if that's actually just what that guy does in this game. If so, that's hilarious. That's literally amazing. Out of all the plane sections, I like these parts the best, I think, just because it's, you know, you're actually interacting with Plankton in a way, and I don't always love things like this where you're moving forward toward the screen. It can be a little weird. But there are a lot of these sorts of sections in the Ratatouille video game when you're being chased by Chef Skinner, and it reminds me of that, and I like it. Also from this general area that I'm talking about. 06, 07. Like, the fiscal year where we got the Wii, it was a really nice time for me. I don't know why. I wish that I had the words to describe what I mean by this time period and what it brings to mind, because it's not... There are specific things, like I think of specific movies, I think of specific games, but there aren't many specific memories, and like I can't describe them in any way that like would make sense verbally. It's just like, I don't know, it just a wistful... It's one of those things where you remember something from the past and it feels like a ghost. Like you remember it, but you don't just recall it. You literally you kind of physically feel the presence of whatever you're thinking about. Like I imagine, you know, those first few weeks where we were making our character, our Miis in the Wii, and playing Wii Sports and playing Guitar Hero, even though I had a grudge against Guitar Hero for precluding me from playing this game. I remember those things, and I can vividly see them in front of me and remember how I felt and everything. And I remember it was really exciting and it was really fun, and I bothered everyone in my house all the time to let's play a Wii game together, but the novelty had worn off for them after a month, and so, but I thought it was fucking cool. It was cool that we had a new kind of trendy thing in the house. I was one of the first of my friends to get a Wii. It wasn't mine, but we had it in the house. And my brother bought a bunch of games for it, and it was Zelda and Metroid, and I had never heard of those games because I'm a little baby boy. And so it introduced me to a bunch of video game shit that I didn't know. Fun fact, one time, my brother wanted to show us... We were watching YouTube videos on the Wii because we found out you could do that, and so we wanted to try it because it was pretty novel at the time. And he wanted to show me I Want to Be the Guy, because he was like, look at this crazy video game. And it didn't have commentary, but it was a Bicked Up on a Bus video, so that's actually how I found out about Bicked Up on a Bus. I remembered that video about a year after that, and the most recent video that he had put up when I went to look was the first part of his Mario Sunshine LP. And that was in April of 2009, I want to say, is when I did that, and that opened up, like, the next era of my life, like, you know, the late middle to high school era where I started making YouTube videos, I got into Let's Plays, and I became much more chronically online, and basically just began my descent into who I am now. But I think I've carved out maybe not a better personality than then, but certainly a different one. But let's see where this goes. Oh, his poor vagina.
I think I've suffered mild abrasions. And maybe some light grazing.
Oh, you poor giant microscopic organism. Let me give you a hand.
Oh no, allow me!
Yo!